country sure as hell been going down the drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty!
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Phone lines are open, 277 or 775-9600. Catch us streaming live video on the ledgeradioshow.com and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. What's up, Smitty?
Well, before we get into any hot topic items here, as we usually do, I want to thank our sponsors, D Square Construction, Kevin Dwyer. If you need your kitchen, bathroom renovated or whatever, he's the man. And Cruise One with Katie Bachman. She's hooked up with Norwegian Cruise Lines, which is they're giving some special deals, which if you pay attention at the breaks, you can listen to them. So give her a call. And, of course, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. You can call them at 239-288-6482. That's 239-288-6482. They'll hook you up.
Hey, thanks, Smitty. If you want to jump right in, we've got the big news of the week. Obama administration will bypass Congress to stop young illegals from being deported and grant work permits. So out of the blue, in an election year, he decides to just do it. His 965th plus minus executive order, and just
huge decision. He's going out on a limb here. I don't really agree with everything he does, and this is one that I think I understand why he did it. I don't know if it's going to.
Why do you think he did it?
Well, obviously he did it for votes.
So it's definitely politically motivated.
Absolutely did it for votes. He says it's the moral thing to do. But if that was the case,
that's because he's down in the polls.
Well, if that was the case, it would have been done years ago. But this has been created for, as you know, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, whenever I was talking about immigration, and nobody ever did anything because it was a stalemate. You had the Republicans; they were happy to get the cheap labor because they loved it. They had big corporations and picking, tomatoes and immigrant workers, and that's what they loved it. So they win-win all the way around. The
Democrats, they didn't benefit from that at all, did they?
Not cheap labor. Yeah.
You mean Jimmy Carter with his peanut farm?
Yeah, I'm sure Jimmy raked it in that way.
Well, the report comes out of the AP. Obama administration stops deporting and begin granting work permits to younger illegal immigrants who came to the U.S. as children and have since led law-abiding lives. Well, that's the charging statement there. Have since. When they came across the border. Now, I realize that the young kids not necessarily came by themselves, but the law was broken when they got here. We have borders for a reason. It's to keep this nation sovereign and, to make sure that we can command and control, what we have here. And we've got, our immigration policy sucks. I realize that. We've got to change that.
Horrible.
But if you just arbitrarily let anybody that comes across the border become a citizen or put them on a quick path to citizenship, that's not the answer.
Well, you're right. That's not the answer. And, I feel sorry for the people that had to go through all the hard rigmarole that they had to just to become a citizen, because there's some people that really stood in line. They had to take years and years to be a citizen.
Yeah.
They did testing, I'm sure. And,
10 years. It takes 10 years.
And they took all this, and they did it the right way. And then Obama comes in and says, okay, we're going to let everybody in. And he says it's temporary, but we all know.
Well, temporary, you mean up until, they'll stop it right after the election in November?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
Temporary status.
Temporary, that's like a joke.
We've achieved our goal. We've been reelected, so now you guys are illegal again.
It's like sort of kind of maybe.
Well, you know what was sad about it, I don't want to even say this is sad, but he used Janet Napolitano to announce the new policy. And it came 1 week before he planned to address the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials annual conference in Orlando. So, I agree with you. I think he's using it to buy the Latino vote.
Well, there's a lot of people, and he did make a good point. He did say that there's some people that are actually in the armed forces that are fighting for us.
You know what? If there are people that signed up to join the Army
I think they
as
should
as part of their path to citizenship, and they're not Al-Qaeda,
right.
I'm happy. I'm all for it.
And if they did
that would prove to me that they're definitely they want to be a citizen.
Sure, if they did their stint over wherever they went, and after 2, 3, 4 years, whatever their time was, I think that you're right, that they should automatically be granted some kind of citizenship, as long as they're not,
Sure.
And if you have any thoughts on this, give us a call, 277-9600 or 775-9600. Not to cut you off here, but we have I just want to let everybody know we have a guest calling in about 20 after. His name's Joe Ruffini. He's
an anti-terrorism expert.
Absolutely.
He's written a couple good books, and we're going to have him on at 8:20.
So stay tuned.
And this immigration issue may come up during that conversation as well. And
sure.
with his background, he probably has some good information on it.
I'm sure.
This particular plan. Under this plan, illegal immigrants will be immune from deportation if they were brought to the U.S. before they turn 16 and are younger than 30, have been in the country for at least 5 continuous years, have no criminal history, graduated from U.S. high school or earned a GED, or served in the military. They can also apply for a work permit that will be good for 2 years with no limits on how many times it can be renewed. Now, I've got relatives.
99% of them are going to say, yes, that's me.
Oh, absolutely. But I've got relatives.
10 years.
I've got relatives that almost got deported because they had to get their. It's like every 10 years they got to get their green card thing redone, and I mean it's a big.
I didn't know you were Mexican.
Just because I have relatives that are not from here doesn't mean they're Mexican. There are other countries in this planet. Wasn't sure if you're aware of that.
I'm well aware of it.
And but you've also got. Obviously, the AP tracks it closely. There's another proposal out there offered by Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida as an alternative to the DREAM Act. Rubio's office released a statement this morning separating itself from the plan, and in that statement he says there is broad support for the idea that we should figure out a way to help kids who are undocumented through no fault of their own. But there is also broad consensus that it should be done in a way that does not encourage illegal immigration in the future. This is a difficult balance to strike, one that this new policy imposed by executive order will make harder to achieve in the long run. Today's announcement will be welcome news for many of these kids desperate for an answer, but it's a short-term answer to a long-term problem. And by once again ignoring the Constitution and going around Congress, this short-term policy will make it harder to find a balanced and responsible long-term. What do you think? You agree?
It's a very, very, very difficult situation, and I feel for the kids that, like you said, had by no fault of their own.
Sure, it's not like they crossed the border. Their parents brought them or relatives or whatever.
And it's a no-win situation. What do? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And on one hand, like I said, I do understand what Obama was trying to do.
But this comes out of the blue. Why this? Why now? Is it the fact that he's looking at the polls and he's down?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
He says it's the right thing to do. It may be,
for
but
him
it was also
to be reelected.
It was also the right thing to do to hold the border up and say, hey, this is our sovereign nation.
Yeah.
We have a border, and by fault of both sides, neither side ever really stood up and said, hey, we're going to control this border.
All they did was talk about
it.
Lip service.
That's it. And I know you don't like to hear it, but the Labor Party. They were for bringing them in, and the Republicans were for it because they owned the businesses and they wanted cheap labor. So everybody was winning while they were arguing and battling this volley back and forth like a tennis game. It just kept going on, and people kept coming over the border, and then it got out of control. And 20 years, 30 years later, we got a mess.
Sure.
And nobody was standing up and take the responsibility to clean this up.
Well, like we said before the show started, you and I were talking to Sick Rick, and the deal is, we're okay with a work program. If they want to come here and work their way to citizenship, I have no problem with that. But if you just automatically sign an executive order,
which everybody
and just now all of a sudden you're a citizen, or we're going to consider you a citizen, and I'm sure they're going to have voting powers. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. I've got some audio. I've got some audio queued up.
Okay,
Alan West, our congressman from Florida, he had some issues with this as well, and. He's wondering, is Obama's new immigration rule a backdoor path to allowing illegals to vote? In examining the situation, it's hard not to wonder how much of it has to do with politics and the coming election. And this is precisely what Alan West pondered yesterday when he appeared on Fox News to discuss the immigration regulation, calling it administrative overreach. Sick Rick, go ahead with that audio of Alan West, please.
The fact that we are getting this, we're not in session, I think this is once again an example of executive branch or administrative overreach to have an unelected bureaucrat and Janet Napolitano coming out about a positive decision which will affect residency here in the United States of America. That's why we have oversight committees, and this should have been brought up as legislation within the Homeland Security Committee, both in the House and Senate. It should have been debated there. It should have gone through a process whereby it was refined and amended and then brought up before the House floor and also to the Senate floor for final approval. That's how we do business in the United States of America. We have representative government, and I think right now this shows that we're getting away from government that's based upon the consent of the American people, and we're starting to live under a rule by edict or executive order.
And that's what he said right there. The very end of that statement is exactly true. We're starting to lean towards a rule by edict or executive order, meaning a single person, like a dictator, can make a decision, sign an executive order, and invoke a new law without going through Congress or the Senate.
And I think the president probably, I don't know, I'm not as vice president, but I think he probably could have gone to both sides and said, listen, I got this. I'll sign this into order. If you guys don't get together and come up with a solution, Republican, Independent, Democrat, a good, viable, bipartisan solution that everybody can work with. I'll sign this, but I'll hold it over your hand.
And I could see that, but with the most pressing problem we have today is jobs in the economy. Where does this fit in? It doesn't. It only fits
more
in
into
for
the
politics.
unemployment is what it's going to do.
It sure will.
It's going to drive his unemployment rate higher because everybody's going to go, okay, I'm a citizen now, or or whatever you want to call them, citizen by proxy.
Sure.
And I'm part of the unemployment now. They're going to start gaining some unemployment. There
was a story also. There's lots of stories came out this week, but yesterday there was a story came out. The AP did some research, found that Obama admits he can't do what he did this week, and they've got the audio of it, and basically says it's rare, very rare you see President Obama admit wrongdoing after he's done something. Unfortunately, it's much more common for him to say something is bad and then go ahead and do it. If this new change isn't damning enough, we have audio evidence from a 2011 Univision town hall where President Obama admits that it's beyond his power to suspend deportations for anyone because there are laws on the books that he'd be breaking by doing that. In other words, the president acknowledges that to do what he did this week would be a rank violation of the separation of powers. Sick Rick, please, the audio of Obama.
With respect to the notion that I can just suspend...
No, it doesn't sound like it's coming through very good.
We have a technical
difficulties. Well, dang it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Even we're going to try it again.
You think you got it this time? All right, let's go for it again.
Rick's got it.
With respect to
very good.
The notion that I can just suspend deportations through executive order, that's just not the case because there are laws on the books that Congress has passed. And I know that everybody here at Bell is studying hard, so you know that we've got 3 branches of government. Congress passes the law. The executive branch's job is to enforce and implement those laws. And then the judiciary has to interpret the laws. There are enough laws on the books by Congress that are very clear in terms of how we have to enforce our immigration system, that for me to simply, through executive order, ignore those congressional mandates would not conform with my appropriate role as president.
Boy, that's some pretty damning evidence right there. Literally, that was last year.
I will go as far as to say that I don't agree with everything either party says, the right or the left, but I think this could probably cost him the election.
Even though he's using it to help himself in the election.
Even though he thinks this is the best thing for him to do to gather votes, I think it could be one of those great ideas that weren't so great once you implement them.
I say if I could give some advice to the Republican Party, to Mitt Romney's campaign, use that audio clip in his next next ad campaign.
I'm sure they're listening to you right now.
Well, I know they know about this clip.
I'm sure.
Man, I would post that every single day.
Don't dig up anything on
I would use
anybody.
Obama saying what he said this week versus what he said last year and go, why the difference? Oh, because it's an election year. Last year you didn't think you were going to lose the election. Now you think you might have a chance to lose, so you're firing all all guns.
Yeah,
you fire all guns before the
when your
ship goes down.
Man, that's the rule, and I think that's what he's doing. I think he showed his hand, and I think he could have used a little bit more persuasion to both sides and said, hey, I'll sign this. I'm going to sign this. If you don't come to a bipartisan solution.
But he didn't do that. He just goes around the back door as usual.
I just think he buys his time.
He uses it for his own personal gain to get reelected. It has no basis on the economy or what the problems are today. Right now, today.
Let's assume that he's going to get all the Hispanic, Latino, all.
Well, it could be anybody. I mean, it could be.
Well, but we're talking. Let's be honest here. We're not talking about a Canadian coming over the border. We're not talking about some guy from France. We're talking about mostly Latinos and Hispanics. That's what he's going for. And now that he's done that, I think it kind of forces the Republicans to go after Rubio
as the VP
and say, hey, you know what? He's got a lot of votes coming his way. We better get somebody on our side. And I think it's going to force Romney to pick Rubio.
Maybe.
I really do.
Well, before we take a call, I wanted to also mention that, Arizona, they've got one of the worst immigration issues in the nation. Them, Texas, any of the border states.
All of them.
And we know that Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he's really, really strong on this this area. And he responded to Obama's new immigration policy shortly after the announcement. He says he will continue enforcing illegal immigration laws in his state. He said, and I quote, I think people from Mexico are now going to feel that they can just come on in and get by with it.
Sure.
But it won't happen in his county. They will be arrested, Arpaio told KNXV in Phoenix. Further, Arpaio says that unless Obama's new policy is enacted into law, he and his department will not enforce it. He says, we're still going to enforce all those illegal immigration laws. If this is not a law, we will not enforce it.
Well,
you want to take a caller?
Let's take a call, see what the public thinks.
All right, caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got for us?
Yeah, I think we ought to start talking about the real problem here, and that real problem is the zombie apocalypse is upon us here.
I'm with you, brother. That sounds like Roadhog calling in, I think, man.
That's
Yeah, you know what? I saw the old picture on your Facebook there, and
if you haven't seen
that, I got my shotgun ready, my sling blade. And,
You should buy some of those zombie bullets from Hornady, man. They're pretty special.
For those of you that are concerned about the zombie apocalypse, check our website out at www.theledgeradioshow.com. We may be having a special offer on our zombie spray soon.
Coming soon to a location near you. Zombie spray from the Ledge Radio Show.
It's in the process of formulating it. We want to get it right.
Hey, Roadhog, we appreciate the call, buddy. Have a great day. Keep safe out there, all right?
See you later, guys.
Zombie apocalypse. I love it. Every week there's a new guy that bit somebody's face off.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. They're not getting Father of the Day here. I mean,
for Father's Day.
Father's Day Sunday, so they're not going to be Father's Day.
Well, I tell you what. As we get close to a break, we'll leave it at that.
Like I said, stay tuned after this break. We have a guy named Joe Ruffino coming on. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right.
I'm sure you're not.
Forgive me, Joe. Don't shoot me.
Ruffini.
Probably. It's early here. And Joe's, like I said, a world-class
anti-terrorism expert.
Wrote all kind of books, and he's got a lot of information. Love to ask him about this question as well.
Sure.
And we're going to have him on, and he's got a book he's pushing, and we read it. He was kind enough to give us a small brief draft of it, and you were reading it.
Yeah, it's a great book.
And it's not for the timid. I can tell you, it's funny, but it's not for the timid. So
let's talk about it when Joe comes on. Everybody, we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge inviting you to come out to K-Rock Live Friday night, June 29th at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. You can meet me, Zito and Garrett, and my boys Stan and Haney. Plus $1,000 cash will be given every hour on the half hour. I didn't stutter. Cold hard cash. And your favorite radio personalities from right here, 96 K-Rock. It all starts at 8 p.m. and VIP options will be available. Just keep listening to 96 K-Rock for details. Or, as always, hit up 96krock.com for more information. K-Rock Live, 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
You never know what we're going to say or do. Take 96 K-Rock wherever you go with the iRadio Now app.
iRadio Now.
Available for free on all smartphones, including Android. The biggest personalities in radio entertainment. Available on one app.
iRadio Now.
The iRadio Now app for all smartphones.
Just go to the App Store and search iRadio Now and download it for free.
Brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, Coconut Point.
Visit 96krock.com for more information.
iRadio Now.
96 K-Rock.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge. Check me out mornings right here on 96 K-Rock from 6 till 10 a.m. Followed by an all-new lineup of the best damn radio shows, period. Zito and Garrett middays. Stan and Haney afternoons. Followed by Lex and Terry, the Nick and Artie, the Alex Jones Show, and Man Count. Check out all the shows on 96krock.com. Take K-Rock everywhere you go by downloading the iRadio Now app on your smartphone or your Android. It's a radio station that has balls to give you exactly what you wanted. Entertaining radio. 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks.
96 K-Rock supports Southwest Florida's bikers with the Biker Map.
Hey, this is Chris with the Biker Map. Be sure to look for the spring edition of the Biker Map.
The Biker Map lists and directs you to biker-friendly bars, restaurants, bike shops, and more.
The Biker Map.
Grab a copy by stopping by K-Rock Broadcasts and always at the K-Rock Studios in Estero.
I just want to say thank you to Southwest Florida and all the advertisers for supporting all the motorcycle riders out there. The Biker Map. Be sure to make the most of your ride. The Biker Map from 96 K-Rock and 96krock.com.
Come be part of the excitement of the summer concert series at Universal Studios. Some of the biggest names in music live in concert on the Music Plaza stage every Saturday night from June 9th through July 14th. This is the year to be here with exciting new attractions like the hilarious 3D ride Despicable Me Minion Mayhem coming soon. Listen all week to win a pair of one-day, 2 park passes and a parking pass. New fun, new thrills, and the summer concert series. Only at Universal Orlando Resort from 96 K-Rock.
Zito and Garrett.
The legendary Larry Hagman. Larry, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You had to feel like one of the luckiest men alive. I mean, you've had a hell of a good life, man.
No kidding.
Larry, anything else that you got? Is Dallas your main thing? You doing anything else these days?
Well, yeah, surviving for one.
Zito and Garrett middays, 10 to 2 p.m. after Bubba on 96 K-Rock.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. The phone numbers are 277 or 775-9600. You can check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. And coming on with us right now, we've got author and retired Lieutenant Colonel Joe Ruffini. Joe, are you there? Joe, you there, buddy?
I am.
All right. Well, glad to have you, man. Thanks for being with us this morning. You know, Smitty and I, we both got the forwarded copy of your new book, and we love it. It's great. Why don't you just kind of let everybody know a little bit about yourself, and we'll get into some of the details of the book.
Well, it sounds good. I'm a career retired Army guy. I did 20 years, 4 months, 16 days, and a wake up, and most of what I do is very serious stuff, counter-terror training education, so I decided I needed a break, as did a lot of other real warriors out there that have sacrificed so much. So I wrote a comical book called The Real Warriors Manual. It'll be available on Amazon hopefully by this Friday, either hard copy or electronic download. And what it does is it makes fun of real warriors, what they like, what they don't like, how they talk, what they eat, their opinions on things. And as you said earlier before I came on, the book is not for the timid.
That's right.
But when you ask these men and women to go back into combat situations for 3, 4, 5, and some of them now 6 and 7 tours of combat duty, these men and women that go back and do that time and time again, they're not your average person, and their language tends to be, let's say, a little colorful,
little rough,
yeah, you might
shrimp
say
boat
a little
captainish.
rough. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a fact of life, and the book was made. I wrote the book just so real warriors could laugh at themselves, laugh at their Army, laugh at their Navy, and just pop a beer, sit back, and let off a little steam, basically.
I love the disclaimer in the first page. It's very nice.
Yeah, the disclaimer, and is it okay with you, Joe, if I read an excerpt out of the disclaimer?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be very interested to see what you're going to do when you get to the F-bomb.
This comes in the second paragraph of the disclaimer at the front of the book. It says, this book is politically incorrect and contains language that is unacceptable to Girl Scout troop leaders, librarians, members of the clergy, pedophiles excluded, and those who are highly offended by the word F. You know who the F you are. I love it, Joe. That's great, man. It's just straight talk from a straight guy, man.
Well, I just think it's kind of ironic that what the obscene thing is that we're sending young men and women into combat for more tours of combat duty and stress than we ever have in this country's history. That doesn't seem to upset people, but if they use the F word in public, they start to get reprimanded by members of their chain of command. And I just think, some of this stuff gets ridiculous. The book, I think, is factual. There's a lot of truth behind the humor, but it is what it is. And
absolutely. Well, I went through the book again last night. It was a second. I read it cover to cover the first night. And then last night I went back through it and kind of picked out some excerpts that I thought were really interesting. Some things that were soft enough for radio, but still gets the point across.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the items, it's on. It looks like it's on page 6 of the book. These is the title of this one is "Actual Quotes That Make Real Warriors Feel Much More Intelligent Than They Really Are." And it's got some great quotes in there. I'm just going to quote a couple of them. One of them is Barbara Boxer, Senator Barbara Boxer. Those who survived the San Francisco earthquake said, "Thank God I'm still alive. But of course, those who died, their lives will never be the same again."
There you go.
That's typical, man.
That's the kind of quote that makes warriors feel a lot more intelligent than they are.
A lot of truth to that.
I love Dan Quayle's quote: "If we don't succeed, we run the risk of failure."
Yeah. What about here's the one from Mariah Carey. I love this one. "Whenever I watch TV and I see those poor starving kids all over the world, I can't help but cry. I mean, I would love to be skinny like that, but not with all those flies and death and stuff." That is that's the celebrity mindset, and for me being a conservative,
maybe she was taking that out of context.
I don't think so, man. She's just dumb as a rock.
There's some stuff, guys, I don't think you can take out of context.
Right.
It's like we send them back into combat zones. We give them all these armored vehicles. We ought to provide them with some neat bumper stickers. For the guys still over in Iraq, the one I like is what did Saddam Hussein and Little Miss Muffet have in common? They had Kurds in their way.
Yeah, and what did he do? He gassed 100,000 Kurds or so, didn't he?
Oh, probably more than that.
Yeah.
Or here's a good bumper sticker: "Sooner or later, this is all going to turn to Shiite."
Nice.
That's true, man.
You should have it on a T-shirt.
That's a good idea, man. You could sell that stuff. Well, he's selling his book, but you can also make him T-shirts, make bumper stickers, all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is just, for instance, I'll ask you guys a question. We'll see if you really read the book. Why does a real warrior cross the road?
Oh shoot, I saw that.
It's to kill something on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't rocket science here.
Right, that's true. I like the real warrior language too. Unfortunately, most of those are hard to say on the radio.
Well, if you watch The Sopranos or you watch True Blood or you watch basically anything on cable TV, The Daily Show, the Colbert Show, the language on that show is no different than it is here. I mean, the book is not for kids. It's
sure.
for adults,
there's a couple quotes here though that I think I can read under real warrior language. Like the difference between what a civilian would say and a real warrior would say. A civilian would say Iraq. A real warrior would call it the sandbox.
The sandbox.
Playing in the sandbox.
Playing in the sandbox.
And the one after that too is interesting because I don't get this one. And I think you can help explain it. Civilian says he's an infantryman. Real warrior said he's an 11 body bag.
Yeah, what you do in the military is classified by numbers and letters. And 11 Bravo has traditionally been the skill identifier for an infantryman. And since they're the most at risk on the battlefield, the slang has developed, instead of calling these guys 11 Bravos, they call them 11 body bags. It's a little crass, but
there's a lot of truth to it, isn't there?
Survival humor.
Yeah, a lot of truth to it. There's one more that I really like, and I got to clean it up a little bit to get the point across. But Civilian says, "I'm really sorry, boss. I don't know how I could have screwed this up. I'll take it back and rework it. I promise this will not happen again." And the rear warrior would say, "Well, tie me naked to an anthill and smear my butt with jam. Guess I really porked the puppy on this bad boy, huh? Let me see what I can do to fix it. If I F it up a second time, you might want to consider giving this task to someone who gives a shiznit."
Yeah.
That's pretty good, man.
Absolutely. You talk to some of these kids, especially the ones that have been over there 3, 4, 5 combat tours. They're very professional. They're very dedicated. They love their country. They love their fellow warriors. But every time these guys come back, their level of tolerance for what they consider to be the mundane or something that falls in the BS category, it gets lesser and lesser. And these kids come back, and when they're told to do something stupid, the first thing they say is, "What are you going to do? Send me back into combat?"
Right.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen anyhow.
Sure. Yeah. What else can you do to me?
That's right. What else
Joe, let me ask
send
you
me back to Afghanistan.
Joe, let me ask you a question. You heard us talking earlier about the immigration, and
I did.
What do you think about that? Because I understand what he's trying to do, but we also know that he wants votes. And I'm not an advocate of just opening up the border, although it's been open for 30, 40 years. Now they're just letting them come in free now. So, I mean, what do you think?
Well, and this whole border controversy is very disturbing. I mean, we're the only nation I know of in history in the modern world that started 2 wars and never secured its own borders during that war. And it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, in my mind, either side of the fence. The Bush administration didn't secure the border. The Obama administration didn't secure the border. I have no faith in the Romney administration if he gets elected to secure the border. I do believe that we should not punish children. They're going to go where their parents take them.
That's true.
My concern with these things, guys, is that I have zero confidence in this bureaucratic government's ability to actually execute and manage what Obama is professing now in any kind of reliable way.
No, I agree with that.
It's too big.
Well, and let me ask you this: from an anti-terrorism standpoint, we've heard a lot of stuff lately, especially from Al Qaeda and other terror factions that are training down in South America, whether they're training themselves or they're training new recruits, to come across this border to look like another group. Have you heard?
Even worse than that is the narco trafficking, the drug connections, say, between Afghanistan that produces more than 92% of the world's opium and heroin, and the cartels in South America and in Central America and in Mexico. And no, it's very, very ungood. We're fighting what we call an asymmetric enemy. He's hard to find. You don't know really where he is till he pops up and does something. And if ever there was a reason to tighten up the borders, it would have been before we ever went into Afghanistan or Iraq. This would be the same guys as, if I lived next door to you as a neighbor and we didn't get along, and I decide one day I'm going to jump the fence and just knock you in the face with my fist, it'd be the same as coming home and leaving my front door open. That's exactly what we've done.
That is true. That is true.
Who in their right mind would go hit their neighbor, come back to their house, and leave both doors open?
Why do you think that is, Joe? Why do you think they leave the borders open like that? I mean, like you just said, Republicans and Democrats
it's economics, in my opinion. It's economics and it's politics. We need the migrant workers, especially around planting and harvest time.
Yeah, that's what Smitty was saying.
The politicians want the vote, and I hate to say this, but I think the almighty dollar and the vote is far trumping our national security. And I think it borders, if not square on criminal.
It's always profit over people and principles, and that's how it is.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and I wish during this election it didn't happen in the last election that people and the media in particular would really ask some pertinent, hard-to-answer questions. I mean, the media, even in the debates, it's all fluff.
Oh, yeah.
I want
it's
some
pre-staged
serious questions this time to be asked.
Yeah, the media, for the most part, have pre-staged questions. A lot of times the candidates have days or weeks in advance to formulate their answer. And so when they hear it, it makes it look like they don't know what's coming. But these guys, they know what these questions are going to be.
Well, I mean, let's stop asking them questions about their extramarital affairs and their legal financial affairs. Let's start asking them questions like we're talking about here. Are you, as president, going to secure the border, yes or no? None of this half measure. You're going to secure it, and tell me there, Mr. Romney or Mr. Obama, specifically how you're going to do it. Let's talk money. Let's talk National Guard. Let's talk beefing up the borders. Let's talk giving more power to local sheriffs. Tell me how you're going to do it. So the answer I want is, are you going to do it? And then don't give me this vague answer. Tell me specifically what your plan is. And then, as a voting public, we need to hold their feet to the fire. I think
which you don't see a whole lot.
Well, guys, here's what I think it is. This is a rough economy, and there's so many Americans out there, so many of us are just fighting to survive, keep food on the table, keep kids in college, and I think it's human nature. When you're fighting to survive as an individual or as a family, you're not really paying that much attention to what's going on at the big level. You don't have the time.
True.
You're too bogged down in the
true. Very true. And for all the callers out there that are sitting on hold right now, just please hold the line. We welcome your call, but we do have a special guest on the line. I don't think we can take 2 calls at once. I'm not real familiar with this phone system.
We're not ambidextrous.
Well, Sick Rick says we can. We can take a caller and not hang up on Joe. All right. Well,
that's
Joe.
Nice. That's nice. I'll kind of hang out here, guys, while you take a caller.
No, are they still there, Sick Rick, or no? Okay, they left. They must have got scared.
You got scared them off, Joe.
I want to get back. I want to get back to the book real quick, Joe. There's one part of the book that I really like too, and it's titled "Some Truth About Real Warriors." And the first paragraph just speaks volumes. And I'd like to read that paragraph. It says, real warriors are men among men and women among women whose mental and physical stamina, endurance, appetite, and sex drive far outstrip that of their wimpy civilian counterparts. Real warriors are hot-blooded, short-fused, no-nonsense individuals dedicated to the defense of all freedom-loving Americans, even those pathetic, misguided Richard Craniums who seek to cut defense spending. That says a lot, man. That I think there's a lot of truth in that.
Well, you know, the thing you have to admire about these men and women in the case of Iraq and Afghanistan, I think I could make a case that they're not really fighting for us. They're fighting for people that are on, half a world away, and they're just as dedicated to those young children and those defenseless men and women. And, I think we are the only country in the world that produces military men and women that actually will go halfway around the world, stay there for 10 years, and put their life on the line every day, not for you and me, but for the Afghan family that's caught between surviving on a farm and the Taliban coming back into their village. And that's it doesn't get more honorable. It doesn't get, I could sit here and get real mushy when I talk about these kids, but the old saying, there's no greater love than to lay down your life for another, and these kids are doing it for people they don't even know.
That's true.
They're doing it because they know in their hearts and mind, with all the criticism aside, that we are well-intentioned when we go over there and try and help people, and it's these young men and women that are actually over there doing all the heavy lifting on behalf of this country, and we can't do enough for them.
Let me ask you something, Joe. Do you think if there was no oil over there, we'd be over there still?
Well, that's a good question. I think if the region wasn't so strategically powerful, if there weren't such large oil reserves, no, I don't think we would be messing around, in there at all.
Sure.
Well, think about it. There's plenty of countries that have atrocities like this that we don't intervene in. But you're right. I mean, this is a strategic area for us and for a lot of the world because a large quantity of oil comes from that area.
My argument would be, look, I understand that the kids are led into that war area and they're good intentions. They want to promote democracy. They want to do all that, but on the other hand, I kind of think it's driven by the oil. And like I said, if there was pebbles underneath that sand, I don't think we'd be putting so many lives in jeopardy. And
the other thing is, we're making these kids nation builders. In my opinion, and it's in the book. What we should do is, anytime there's a terror threat, if any nation is harboring terrorists, they're training there, and the nation doesn't take care of the problem, we as the United States should reserve the right to fly in unannounced, clean up the mess. We're going to kill people. We're going to break things. And then here's the key, guys. We're going to get on the damn planes, and we're going to come home, and we don't pick up the cleaning bill.
That's right.
And then the president gets on the TV the next day and reminds the world, remember, this is how it goes. If you don't take care of terror problems in your country that are a threat to us, we reserve the right to come in there. We got the military that can take care of it, but do the job, get back on the plane, come home, stop occupying Muslim nations and playing into the propaganda hands of the likes of Al-Qaeda and Hamas and Hezbollah. I think the one thing that's frustrating the troops is they don't mind going over there and getting the job done. What they mind is going over there and trying to build a country like Afghanistan where there is no infrastructure.
Yeah, and I've read that section of the book that you just referred to, and it's phenomenal. If we can implement that as our true foreign policy, that man, it would change the way the wars are fought, because we wouldn't really have to have wars. Like you said, we just drop in unannounced, eliminate the threat, come home, and not pay for the damage.
Yeah, the SEAL Team 6 raid on Bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad is a perfect example. You get in there, you do the job, you come out. People don't like it. That's tough.
Yeah. I agree.
Who you voting for? You want to tell us?
I got to tell you, gentlemen, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not enthralled with either candidate.
That's me neither. I'm with you there, Joe.
And I'm tired of walking out of the voting booth feeling like I need a shower. The choice every year, in my opinion, is between a buffalo chip and a cow pie. And
the lesser
only
of two
time
evils.
I've ever felt good walking out of a voting booth was when I voted for Ronald Reagan, and then
Good
I
man.
can speak for my whole life.
Yeah, good man.
Well, speaking of voting for Romney, because I know that JD is a big Romney supporter.
It's not that I'm a big Romney supporter. I'm a big anti-Obama supporter.
Well, either
so
way.
I'm going to vote for anybody that's on a ticket against him.
Okay,
because
well,
I'm not for communism or socialism.
Do you know how many deferments he used not to get into the war? He used like 4 or 5 deferments not to go into the Vietnam War, and he flew to France. So I mean, it's just it's a fact. So I'm just putting it out there.
I didn't realize Obama served.
He didn't have to then. You know, you're talking about the Vietnam War. Romney's a lot older.
Okay, he's a community
guys,
activist.
I mean, you can criticize every president, and we can certainly sit here probably for 2 hours and talk about the Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld debacles. But say what you want about Obama, he has ordered 10 times the drone strikes that they did during the 8 years of the Obama administration. We have killed 4 times plus the al-Qaeda leaders under Obama's leadership than we have under the Bush administration. And here's the thing. If you guys remember when Jimmy Carter ordered that raid to rescue the Americans that had been taken hostage when the Ayatollah came into Iran in 1979, and that operation went horribly wrong, and Jimmy Carter never recovered publicly. You say what you want about Barack Obama, but that was one of the gutsiest calls that I've ever seen a president make, because had that mission failed, like the one had in the Carter administration, he would have been toast. And he put the objective, in my humble opinion, and the need to take this guy out.
Yeah, I love his foreign policies of what he's doing over there as far as that, but I don't like his domestic stuff.
The funny thing about his foreign policy is he hasn't really changed a whole lot of what Bush did. I mean, now with the new drone strikes, that's because the drones are so much more effective now. The technology is better now, so the drones work better. I mean, they're small. They've got drones now that are as small as a golf ball. They use for spying.
But, if you talk to people in the government, government organizations that usually are described by letters. You talk to people in the military, they will tell you that what a lot of Americans don't know is Obama has got a passion for getting these bad guys.
Yeah, he does.
And nobody looks at Obama as a hawk, but when it comes to eradicating organizations like Al-Qaeda, he's absolutely fanatic about it, and the word is he wants these people dead.
Well, maybe that's a good feather in his hat. Then
it's
I guess.
Great when you look on the news every other week. The second guy got knocked down again and killed, then another guy gets in and he gets killed a month later, and it's great. Who wants to step up? I wouldn't want to be the next guy in line.
But you mentioned something, Joe, that was that kind of hits home. When you said that was a gutsy call he made. I think any president that was in that situation would have said, "All right, you think we got him? You think we know where he is? Let's go get him." I think they'd have said, "Yeah, go get him. You guys done all the research. You found where he is.
A lot harder than
go get him."
A lot more involved than just
saying
that.
It depends who you read. But if you read some stories about, let's say, Bill Clinton during the Clinton administration, allegedly there were 2 or 3 times during the Clinton administration where our special forces had him in the crosshairs, and they were just waiting for the executive order to execute. And the order never came. Now, how many times we had him in the crosshairs under the Bush administration, I don't know. That's kind of a hard piece of research to do. But the bottom line, guys, every politician has always had its strengths and its weaknesses. And there's a lot of things on the domestic side and the policy side that's going on in the Obama administration that I think is not good, especially economically, especially for small business. But here's my concern, okay? I am waiting for Romney to tell me, give me some specifics. What are you going to do to make it different?
Sure.
I mean, I hear him say he can rebuild the economy. Fine. Give me some specifics. At least with the current president, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. At least with the current president, I know what he's doing, and I can say it's screwed up. I don't like it.
Right.
But am I missing something here? Has Mitt Romney come out with any specifics at all on how he's going to fix anything?
No, he has.
He's got I remember
locker room talk.
Yeah,
he has a lot of hoo-ha. We're going to change the world.
He's got his 59-point plan or whatever it was that Newt Gingrich was making fun of.
You just hit it on the head. Locker room talk. Okay, guys, we're going to go out on that gridiron, and we're going to knock the hell out of them. Now let's go. Oh, okay, Coach. Well, you want to tell us what you want us to do different the second half that we did?
Go get them. I said just go get them.
Keep doing it. Keep doing whatever you're doing. Keep throwing money at it.
It's like in those funny movies where the whole team runs out of the locker room and breaks the door and fall over each other, and they're no better the second half than they were the first. But,
they don't know where they're going.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what. If you elect me, I will absolutely tell you what my specific platform would be.
Well, you got to run for office, Joe. We'll vote for you.
I tell you what. If nothing else, we'll at least promote the book and get people to buy your book, because I think it's the new book's a great book. And I wanted to shift gears real quick before we go to our hard break, just to go to something a little on the lighter side. In the book, there's some more quotes about further on in the book, people who make real warriors look even smarter than they really are. This is one from Britney Spears. You know, she's known for her mind, intelligence. She's. I get to go.
Is she a Mensa?
Yeah, I think she is. She says I get to go to lots of overseas places like Canada. That's Britney.
Well, there you go, guys. There you go. I looked at my map again when I read that quote when I was researching
just to make
for the book, and I cannot find an ocean between the northern United States and the south of Canada. Now, I may have an outdated map,
right?
But I think Miss Spears may have missed one or two geography classes in her extended education.
She thinks Niagara's an ocean.
Well, here's another one that's funny. This is from Marion Barry. He was a mayor of Washington D.C.
Former mayor of Washington.
Yep. If you take out the killings, Washington actually has a very low crime rate.
Yep. That was that's the quote that kind of sticks in my mind. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger's quote. I think gay marriage should be between a man and a woman. Okay. All right.
That's golden.
That's great, man. Now here's something it's a real warrior truism, and this is another one of these small quotes that speaks volumes. Be polite. Be professional. Have a plan to kill everyone you meet. Explain that one. Explain that one, Joe.
Because in an asymmetric warfare, for instance, when you're a patrol, you're going through an Afghan village. It's in a formerly or a heavily Taliban area. One of the challenges and the great stress is that you don't know who's friend or who's foe. You don't know whether they're just village people caught in the middle, or whether when you turn your back, there's going to be IEDs and sniper fire and ambush coming from. So. Yeah, you go into these little villages, you talk to these kids, they're polite, they're professional, they treat the people with respect, but they know that in any given second, hell could be unleashed, and they could be fighting for their life. So when they go into a small village, part of the plan is, okay, in case we get ambushed, in case this is going to be a Taliban insurgent action, how are we going to respond? How are we going to get out of this alive? So
you got to have that plan
behind that.
Well, I tell you what, Joe, we are coming up on a hard break. We really appreciate you being on the show with us, and we'd like to have you on again sometime.
Absolutely. I want to thank Ray Humphreys for turning us on to.
Yeah, good mutual.
Ray's a great guy.
Mutual friend.
Committee JD, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and love your program, and I'd be glad to come on anytime.
Happy Father's Day.
When's the book go on the market?
Yeah, it should be up on Amazon for either hard copy order or electronic download. We're hoping this Thursday or Friday at the latest. So later on this week.
All right, that's the Real Warriors Manual by Joe Ruffini. Joe, we really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Have a great Father's Day.
Hey, you guys too. Stay safe and have a great day.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.
Find out where 96 K-Rock will be next. 96 K-Rock is constantly hitting the streets.
And you never know what you can win. Custom K-Rock t-shirts, concert tickets, sports tickets, and more.
Plus, you'll always get a cold 96 K-Rock custom labeled bottled water from Hoosier Wawa. To order, personal or business, 1 case minimum, call 403-WAWA.
For more information and to find out where we'll be next, visit 96krock.com.
Come be part of the excitement of the summer concert series at Universal Studios. Some of the biggest names in music live in concert on the Music Plaza stage every Saturday night from June 9th through July 14th. This is the year to be here with exciting new attractions like the hilarious 3D ride Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. Coming soon. Listen all week to win a pair of one-day 2 park passes and a parking pass. New fun, new thrills, and the summer concert series. Only at Universal Orlando Resort from 96 K-Rock.
Meet the shows of 96 K-Rock at K-Rock Live, Friday night, June 29th at Seminole Immokalee Casino. Bubba the Love Sponge, Zito and Garrett, and Stan and Haney will be there starting at 7:30 p.m. Guarantee your autographs and pictures with the guys by purchasing the VIP package. $50 gets you a $25 food and beverage voucher, K-Rock Live custom t-shirt, commemorative poster for autographs, and 30-minute VIP only session with the guys. Limited number available, so purchase now. Visit 96krock.com for more.
Hey, it's Bubba the Love Sponge. Check me out mornings right here on 96 K-Rock from 6 till 10 a.m. Followed by an all-new lineup of the best damn radio shows, period. Zito and Garrett middays. Stan and Haney afternoons. Followed by Lex and Terry, the Nick and Artie, the Alex Jones Show, and Man Count. Check out all the shows on 96krock.com. Take K-Rock everywhere you go by downloading the iRadio Now app on your smartphone or your Android. It's a radio station that has balls to give you exactly what you wanted. Entertaining radio. 96 K-Rock. Talk that It rocks.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock. The phone numbers are 277 or 775-9600. You can check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. And just wanted to say, send out a quick apology to some of our sponsors. Some technical difficulties kept us from playing their spots, but we will make it good. And I want to get right into something else since we've only got about 11 minutes left. Another big story comes out. As you know, the Supreme Court is set to make a ruling on Obamacare either this week or next. They say within 2 weeks. And we've got Nancy Pelosi again, being a prophet, declares the Supreme Court will affirm ironclad on Obamacare in their favor.
We know you love her.
Well, the House, she's predicting the Supreme Court will uphold the constitutionality of the health care law by a 6-3 vote. How would she know this? How would she know?
I don't know. Maybe she's got the magic 8-ball. I don't know. Maybe she pulls it up and says possibly tonight, or
Well, even still,
do you know how much information you can get from the magic 8-ball when you shake it, turn it upside
that's true.
down? You can get a lot of information.
Like I guess, maybe never.
Some people actually live their lives through the magic 8-ball.
Well, still, she says that the party is prepared for any eventuality, including the possibility that the High Court may overturn some of the law. I've got some audio queued up from her. Sick Rick, let's go with Nancy Pelosi. Cut one, please.
Let me turn to something else that people are anticipating. It is a Supreme Court decision on health care. You played a vital role in getting health care passed. Are you prepared for the fact that the Supreme Court may declare either part or whole of the health care that you passed and have passed unconstitutional? And what will you do if the Supreme Court says that?
Well, first of all, I think that we're ironclad on the constitutionality of the bill. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in judicial review.
So if the Supreme Court says it's unconstitutional, that's it. So what do you do? What happens to health care?
Well, I think it will be 6-3 in our favor.
That's what she thinks.
Well, how is she so sure? I mean,
she's not so sure.
All right. Well, now listen to her response. How she will handle defeat, because the reporter asks her again, trying to prompt her to finally answer. What will you do if it's overturned? Sick Rick, go ahead with cut two.
A couple options. One is that they declare the whole bill unconstitutional. The other is that they sever it severable, and they do take pieces. We'll be prepared for any eventuality.
Okay, but tell me what you're prepared to do.
Well, the many things that are in place right now, it'd be hard to see that the court would roll back, but over 80 million people have already taken advantage of the wellness and prevention examinations that they have. The children, little children, cannot be discriminated against on the basis of pre-existing condition. Kids 26 and under are on their parents' policies if the family decides that. But in other words, many things that it would be really hard to see them roll back that the public has become used to.
That's the key right there. That's the key. See, I told you, Smitty, they've set the foundation for a welfare state. Now they've got 80 million people hooked on this, hooked on the things that they've passed. And so if you try to take it away, if the big bad Republicans come in and go, hey, man, we got to remove this stuff, then 80 million people go automatically to vote against them because now they've hooked them on welfare.
I thought we were talking about health care.
It is. It's the same thing.
It's not the same
thing. When a 2,700-page bill that only has about 200 pages worth of welfare. When 200 pages of it is health care and the rest is everything else.
Different than welfare.
I realize that, but it's no. You know what? It's not in this bill because if I got to pay for you
for your
anyway, then that's
you're
welfare.
You're paying for it anyway for people that are coming here that go the uninsured. They go to the hospital. Who do you think pays for it? You and me. That's what you guys don't get.
No, I get it. I get it. Don't pay for them.
You don't get it.
Let's take a caller. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got?
I got an email. I founded the Silent Majority Revival website, and I got an email from somebody down there to call the station.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we appreciate you calling. What?
Am I on the air now?
Tell me what's on your mind.
Oh.
You're live right now.
Oh, okay. I founded the Silent Majority Revival website.
Okay.
It lists all my aches and pains about what's going on in the country today.
All right.
And for instance, immigration. Nobody seems to be addressing that the banks are getting away with murder.
A lot of money going to the banks.
Wall Street is
out of control.
Nobody seems to be reining in all the problems we have in the United States. Seem to be avoiding them.
Well, I agree. We just had a whole 20-minute discussion on immigration. Then we brought an anti-terrorism expert on the show. Got his take on the latest issue where Obama is going to pretty much grant amnesty, but he's not using those terms to younger immigrants that were brought here by their parents and so forth.
Just to let you know, I was this week I was listening to United Health has adopted the policy. Some of the
Thanks, caller.
Some of the policies now for if you have a pre-existing condition and some other things with health insurance that are in that plan.
What do you mean adopted the policy? They're mandated to. If they don't,
well, they're doing it before it's a law. They're doing it before it's a law right
They
now.
have to. If they don't, they get fined.
Nobody else is doing it but them.
Well, they just had to be the first one that went ahead and signed the thing.
So I'm just telling you that you can argue it, but it's not a law yet. So they're still up, for the.
That's great.
For vote. So
that's great. All right, we'll
take another call.
We got another call. All right, caller.
Take a call.
Caller, you're on the Les Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got for us?
I just got shut off somehow or other, or maybe you shut me off from the silent majority. We were discussing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Did you have something else?
Well, I mean, I'd like to have people go on my webpage if possible.
Yeah, the silentmajority.com. Is that what it is?
It's Silent Majority Revival Weebly WEEBLY.com.
You got it, buddy. You just told everybody. Good. You just got a plug for yourself. Thanks a lot, caller.
There's a lot of issues on there.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Wembley, isn't that a stadium in England?
Not Wembley, Weebly. I know you got some other stuff over there, Smitty. Some stuff you want to get to.
No,
your buddy Sandusky. Didn't you have something about him?
Sandusky. Let's talk about him. It's Father's Day coming up, so Sandusky is a great dad to have.
Oh man, I don't know if he was that way with his kids. I'm not sure what the issue is there, but
I don't know what's. Did you hear that the description of what these guys said? It had like 9 people come out there and actually were talking about what he had done to them, and it was so graphic. It was so horrendous.
Yeah, they released 224 documents on all the graphic details.
I'm surprised he just doesn't go and hang himself in a closet somewhere. That's crazy.
He might be under suicide watch. I don't know.
He doesn't look like he's awfully happy walking around when you see him.
Is he still at home or is he locked up?
No, they give him protective, transportation, and I guess he's locked up. But
at the jail or at home, like a home.
I don't know. I think he's in home jail.
Do you know anything about this case?
I know what he did to the boys.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. I told you, man. I had a middle school gym teacher that got in trouble for stuff like that.
That's like under serial killer is number 1.
Right.
That's right under serial killer.
I would say they're right in line.
Yeah, they're right in line. So
right
if you're one, that is you have to say that is the most
death
horrendous.
Penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. They should have a new trial called fast track trial.
Well, they do in Texas.
Right, real quick.
They take you right to the front of the line.
That's it. Because I wouldn't tolerate that.
Well, my dad he told me something years and years ago, and it always stuck with me. He said for child rapists and stuff like that, they ought to put them in a little wooden shack.
Yeah.
Nail their thing to the floor, give them a rusty spoon, and light the shack on fire.
That was Pearl's wisdom from Dad.
Good luck. What are you going to do? Cut it off or burn to death?
Did you see the guy?
Either way is fitting in for him.
Did you see the Walinda guy go over the Niagara Falls last night?
I didn't watch it. I knew you were going to watch it, so I let you do it so I could watch something that's more interesting. But go ahead.
It was interesting. I mean, here's a guy who's never been done ever, and it was like 1,800 feet or something. It was real far.
1,800? I thought Niagara Falls were only 175 feet high.
No. He went across it, not up it. So then
1,800?
It's a lot.
You sure?
It's long.
Oh, he went 1,800 feet long, not high.
Yeah,
okay.
He went long. He went across
I got you.
He went from America to Canada.
Didn't you tell me that the rope was going to be like 4 inches wide or something?
The rope was designed by his dad, who was a NASA scientist, and so the rope was like extra long. Or not steel. It's a steel beam is really what it was.
But steel beam?
Yeah, it was like a steel cable.
Why can't they use the little high wire cable they have in the circus?
No.
The little one is like a,
it was
1 inch cable.
Man. He's not walking across Summerlin, okay?
Maybe next time I'll try with a thinner rope.
That's right. Well, it was really interesting. The only thing that I had griped about, he had a tether attached to him. So if he were to fall, he wasn't going to die, which kind of takes the punch out of the whole thing.
Yeah, you have almost no fear if you're not going to die when you fall.
Yeah, I could make it a little ways with that on,
Well, I tell you what,
It was still very interesting, and they talked to him when he was going over, and he had the headphones, and they asked him what it was like, and he said, "Wow, the view is unbelievable."
I'm sure.
And he was praising the Lord the whole way through, though.
Praising, or he was praying?
He was saying, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much for the view."
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what he was. He was really very religious. Guy.
Help me, Tom Cruise. Help me, Oprah. Help me, baby Jesus, little baby Jesus. Well, we're coming up on the end of the show. We've got about 1 minute. I want to go ahead and wish Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. A special one to Smitty and Tripod Bill, Sick Rick, and my dad and my father-in-law.
And my dad is no longer with me. But
and your dad is no longer with you.
Pearls of wisdom used to say when he gave me advice.
What was you tell the people? What does your dad always say?
Which one?
Not my problem.
Not my problem. That's what he used to say to me.
You would go to him with an issue?
I've got an issue here, and I tell him what to do. He'll look at me and smoke his Camel and puff it out in the air and drink his coffee and look at me and go, "That ain't my problem. It's your problem. You handle it."
But it made you a stronger person, didn't it?
Yeah. I used to say, "What do you think we should do? What do I think I should do?" He says, "I can't help you." I said, "Why not?" He says, "Because if I give you advice and it's wrong, you're going to blame me. So don't ask me. You decide. Use your head. You're a smart kid. Click. Hang the phone up on."
Nice. That'd be like if you're asking for money or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Not my problem.
All right. Happy Father's Day, everybody. We'll be back next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.